And welcome back. It's time for this week's Capitol Report with Pat McGuigan of CapitolBeatOK.com. Well, Pat, you were at a community watchout forum, and you got to ask a question that sparked an interesting response from Interim Corrections Director Joe Allbaugh concerning the death penalty issue. Tell us about that.
Yeah, he was very forthcoming on a number of issues at the forum that was sponsored by our friends at Oklahoma Watch. And I did get a good question in. I said, had the turmoil flowing from the death penalty issue affected morale overall in the agency? And, you know, he was very strong in saying no. And I said, has it affected public confidence and, you know, what comes next? He said it's clear that mistakes were made, but that he says, my gut tells me that there won't be indictments flowing from the grand jury process. We'll see. It is a pretty blunt way of, you know, discussing a kind of a touchy issue, which is the imposition of the ultimate sanction. He stressed that the agency is ready to carry out its job if the state returns to the process of implementing capital punishment. He stressed very strongly that it's going to be at least 150 days, several months. Once the grand jury is done, it'll be at least several months before the process starts again. He made it clear that he supports the death penalty. Part of what's been going on with Allbaugh is that he seems to be pretty candid. Now, that can be something that's practiced, but he comes across as pretty candid. And you ask him tough questions, and he gives what seems like direct answers, including, and he sounds very supportive of real reform of the kind that you've heard me articulate here dozens of times. So stay tuned. I kind of wish the state would take a deep breath and not go forward with capital punishment at this time. I may not get my wish in that regard, but Allbaugh says they're ready to avoid those kinds of errors in the future.
All right. Well, this week, Pat wrote about total age dependency ratio in terms of public policy, especially education policy. Pat, what the heck are you talking about?
Well, okay, here we go. It's the ratio between two particular age groups, and that is those from 5 to 17 and those 64 and over. The young in school, the elders who have either retired or are getting ready to retire, and those in the middle. Bottom line, in 2010, there were 62 out of every 100 of those of our people were in the cart, if you will, being assisted by the working population. That ratio is going to be 80 in the year 2030. Every year that passes between now and 2030, another huge wave of baby boomers, that's us, brother,
hits that retirement age,
and then we will be dependent on those young workers. Here's how it applies to education policy, is that since 1998 up through this past year, the number of young people scoring below proficient, that is not proficient, has been far too high to optimistically project the future of the educational and, for that matter, the workplace system. So I support education choice and a lot of other reforms because pretty soon they're going to be us, and we're going to be in that demographic that's no longer in the workplace. We have to do a better job for them, and we have to do a better job for ourselves.
No kidding. Well, you can read more about these and other topics at CapitolBeatOK.com. For Pat McGuigan, I'm Alex Cameron. Have a good day.